Have you ever pondered the origins of trade? Picture a world devoid of any form of currency. Seems unimaginable, doesn't it? But our journey through the annals of trade starts in such a place where bartering ruled. As old as civilization itself, the barter system was an uncomplicated concept. Swapping goods for goods. Got an abundance of corn but require wool. Easy peasy. Locate an individual with surplus wool who's in need of corn. Voila, trade accomplished. This system was fundamentally based on the double coincidence of wants, or put simply, you desire what I possess, and I crave what you own. It was a practical system for small, tight-knit societies. The members of these communities were familiar with each other and their requirements, thus facilitating trades. It was a period when the worth of goods was not fixed, but determined by the needs and preferences of the individuals engaged in the transaction. However, as societies grew, the barter system's shortcomings became evident. What if you own corn but need wool, and the person with wool doesn't want corn? Or what if your heart is set on a cow, but all you've got to trade are apples? How do you equate several apples to a cow? The barter system had no standard unit of value, making trades complex and often inequitable. Furthermore, some items were not divisible without diminishing their worth. For instance, you couldn't possibly divide a cow into pieces to trade for multiple smaller items. This lack of divisibility served as another glaring drawback of the barter system. Thus, while the barter system was functional in societies in simpler times, it faltered in the face of growing societal and economic complexity. The time was ripe for a paradigm shift, a novel system that could overcome the constraints of barter. And thus came the dawn of coinage, a palpable medium of exchange that would transform trade and lay the groundwork for the financial systems we recognize today. So, the barter system had its glitches, but what followed next? Let's delve into the realm of coinage and beyond, into the birth of Bitcoin. Get ready, it's going to be a thrilling ride. From swapping goods to now trading with shiny pieces of metal. How did that happen? Let's dive into the fascinating birth of coinage. The concept of coinage emerged around 5,000 years ago. It was a time when societies began to realize that relying solely on the barter system had its limitations. Imagine trying to trade a cow for a sack of grain. What if the other person didn't need a cow? Enter coins, the game changer that revolutionized trade. Coins were initially made of valuable metals like gold and silver. The value of the coin was equivalent to the worth of the metal it was made from. This made it easier for people to grasp the concept of money. If you had a gold coin, you owned a certain amount of gold. Simple, isn't it? But coins did more than just simplify trade. They were tangible, portable, and most importantly, divisible. This meant you could break down your wealth into smaller units, making it easier to buy goods of varying values. And let's not forget, coins were durable. Unlike goods that could perish or deteriorate, coins would retain their value over time. This made them an excellent store of wealth. The practice of coinage quickly spread. From the ancient city-states of Greece to the vast realms of China, coins became the universally accepted medium of exchange. They allowed for the growth of markets, the expansion of trade routes, and the flourishing of economies. But coinage was not just about economics. Coins also served a social and political role. They bore the images of rulers and deities, becoming a tool for propaganda and control. As societies grew more complex, so did their monetary systems. Coins evolved from simple pieces of metal to intricately designed tokens of wealth and power. And as technology advanced, we started minting coins from less valuable metals, relying on the trust that these coins still represented a certain value. Coins certainly made trade easier, but the world was about to get a whole lot bigger with the introduction of paper money. So, let's turn the page and discover how paper money further transformed our economic history. Now, paper takes the stage, but how did a piece of paper come to hold so much value? As trade expanded beyond local communities, the limitations of the coinage system became apparent. Carrying heavy coins over long distances was inconvenient and risky. Enter the banks, providing a solution to this problem. In the Middle Ages, Italian banks began issuing bills of exchange. These were essentially promissory notes that could be exchanged for coinage at any branch of the bank, a concept that laid the groundwork for modern banking. But why stop at promissory notes? Why not use paper as money itself? This idea wasn't new. The Chinese Tang dynasty had introduced paper money as early as the 7th century. However, it took a financial crisis in Europe in the 17th century to accelerate the widespread adoption of paper money. During this period, banks started issuing notes that represented a deposit of gold or silver. These notes could be exchanged for their face value in metal. It was safer, more convenient, and it revolutionized global trade. These notes were, in essence, a promise by the bank to pay the bearer the value of the note in coinage. But there was a catch. Banks soon realized they could issue more notes than they had gold or silver in reserve. As long as people didn't all come to withdraw their deposits at once, no one would be the wiser. This practice, known as fractional reserve banking, is still the basis of most modern banking systems. It allows banks to lend more money than they actually hold, stimulating economic growth. However, this system is not without its risks. If too many people try to withdraw their money at once, a bank run can occur, potentially leading to a financial crisis. This is why we have central banks and regulations today to maintain stability in the financial system. Banks and paper money became the backbone of our financial system, but another leap was just around the corner. Enter the era of plastic money. But how did we go from tangible cash to cards? Well, the journey began in the mid-20th century, when businesses started to search for more efficient ways to handle transactions. This led to the birth of electronic money and credit cards. The first universal credit card, which could be used at different establishments, was introduced by Diners Club in 1950. It changed the game. No longer did people need to carry large amounts of cash or write out checks. Instead, they could simply hand over a small plastic card. The convenience was undeniable. With the rise of electronic money, consumer behavior shifted. People began to value convenience and flexibility over the physicality of cash. Spending became easier, and for better or worse, we became a society driven by consumption. Credit cards made spending easier than ever. But the internet was about to change everything. The internet, a revolution that reshaped our world, including how we handle money. But how? Well, it all began with online banking. The internet provided an accessible platform for banks to offer their services virtually, making banking convenient like never before. Now you could check your balance, transfer funds, and even apply for loans, all from the comfort of your home. This transformation didn't stop at banks. It opened doors for digital transactions, enabling us to buy and sell goods online using platforms like eBay and Amazon. Suddenly, the world was our marketplace. And then came PayPal, a game changer in the world of digital transactions. It made sending and receiving money as easy as sending an email. Businesses flourished, and consumers enjoyed a seamless, secure payment experience. The internet revolution was indeed transformative. It made money truly global, connecting people and businesses across continents. But as we embraced this new convenience, an even bigger revolution was brewing. Cryptocurrencies, the buzzword of our times. But what makes them so revolutionary? To answer that, let's take a stark look at the principles behind cryptocurrencies. You see, cryptocurrencies are digital or virtual currencies that use cryptography for security. They operate independently of a central bank, making them decentralized. This means that no government or institution has control over them, giving users an unprecedented level of financial freedom. Now let's talk about the poster child of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. Introduced in 2009 by an unknown person or group known as Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin brought the concept of cryptocurrency into the mainstream. Unlike traditional currencies, Bitcoin exists only as a digital entity. It's like having a gold bar in your computer, except it's not a physical object, but a string of data. Bitcoin operates on a technology known as blockchain, a public ledger containing all transaction data from anyone using Bitcoin. Transactions are added to blocks, or the links of code that make up the chain, and each transaction must be recorded on a block. But here's the twist. These blocks are not controlled by any central authority. Instead, they are maintained by a network of computers around the world, known as nodes. So, why is Bitcoin a game changer in the financial world? Well, it's all about the power shift. For the first time in history, control over currency is not in the hands of a few, but in the hands of the many. This decentralization could potentially lead to a more equitable distribution of wealth and a more stable financial system. From barter to Bitcoin, our journey has been quite a ride. But remember, this is just the beginning. As we continue to evolve, so too will our methods of trade. Who knows? Perhaps someday, the very concept of money as we know it will be a thing of the past. But for now, we're just getting started with this new era of digital currency. So buckle up, because the future of money is here, and it's looking pretty exciting.